Today we're going to talk about the most dangerous food that you could potentially eat. Not that you would ever eat this food, but if you did, looked at a lot of different factors, which I'm going to discuss. But before I get into it, I'm very curious what you think is the most dangerous food for your health. Go ahead and comment in the section down below. I'm very curious. And as I go through this, let's see if you can guess what it is. The first point I want to bring up is that it combines a starch and a fat together under high heats, okay? So that's the first thing. So anytime you combine a starch or carb with a fat or protein and you heat it up, you create this very interesting compound called an advanced glycation end product. Now, what is that? Well, that's just a compound that really becomes sticky in your body, and it just locks up all sorts of cells and tissues in the eye, in the brain, in the heart, in the kidney, and it makes these tissues not able to function correctly. Now, if you think of your blood sugars, for example, you would get a test done called A1C, which is this. It's glycation of a protein. So basically, you're measuring like a 3-month exposure to sugar, because the sugar in your blood combines with the protein in your blood. It's called hemoglobin, the protein. It destroys it and it makes it unavailable to function. So when they measure A1C, they're determining how much of your hemoglobin is stuck to sugar, basically. And so the higher you have it, the more diabetes and complications you have, and the less you have it, the healthier you are. All right, the next ingredient is hydrogenated oils, either cottonseed or it could be corn oil. Hydrogenated, that means there's trans fats. Trans fats are very, very bad. It makes your cells like plastic. It hardens the arteries. There's reports that it triggers cancer. I mean, it does a lot of damage inside the body. And a lot of foods have gone away from hydrogenated oils, but not all types of foods. All right, the next thing this food has, if you want to call it a food, is acrylamide. Acrylamide occurs when you deep fry certain root vegetables, okay? I could just give you a hint there. Under high heats, you create this neurotoxin called acrylamide, okay? It's been linked to Alzheimer's because it affects the neurons. All right, the next ingredient is sugar. And in the US, I mean, a great majority of the sugar is beet sugar, which is GMO. So we have glyphosate, and then we have sugar. And so we know what sugar does. It creates all sorts of issues. I don't need to get into that, but the type of sugar is not even sugar cane. Usually it's going to be either beet sugar or dextrose, or they just might add dextrose. That's a synthetic sugar, okay? Or another type of sugar, which is not even classified as a sugar, called maltodextrin. Now, what's fascinating about maltodextrin is that because they manipulated this carbohydrate to a polysaccharide, which is many sugars, they can classify it as a starch and not as sugar. So when you look at the label, it's not under sugars, it's under carbohydrates. So it makes it seem like it's low sugar, but on the glycemic index, maltodextrin, it is the glycemic index. So when you consume something with maltodextrin, you're consuming something that's really going to raise your blood sugars in a big way and create high insulin. It's called hyperinsulinemia, and there's so many complications that occur from high insulin. And maltodextrin is made from either rice, wheat, or corn. All right, I want to come back to this chemical called glyphosate. It's what they use as an herbicide called Roundup Ready, and it's involved in GMO foods. But there are certain foods that they spray a lot of this glyphosate on. And I won't tell you exactly what food it is. You'll have to guess, but they spray it on oats, lentils, soy. Lentils would be like peanuts, beans, wheat, potato, sugar beets, and corn. If you research glyphosate, you'll see that it's really safe for humans, but it's not very safe for microorganisms. So when they spray it in the soil, it can kill certain microbes because they also got a patent to classify glyphosate as an antibiotic because it kills microbes. Well, the question is, do we have any microbes? in or on our body? And the answer is yes, we do. Do we depend on them? Yes, we do. Is it possible that this glyphosate can alter our microbiome? Of course, you're going to have a lot of biased answers on that, but I think it can. All right, the next ingredient is seed oils, okay? As in corn, canola, cottonseed, soy, peanut, or safflower, or sunflower. And they might use different combinations of these oils, but they use them in very high heats. And usually if you buy this food at a restaurant, they're frying this food in this oil multiple times, if not, weeks to a month. So the more that you use this oil and you deep fry something over and over, you create an incredible oxidation, which means it's very, very inflammatory. It's giving you a lot of advanced glycation end products, which is clogging everything up. It's giving you trans fats. It's giving you a lot of sugar and high levels of insulin. It's giving you glyphosate, which can affect the digestive system in a big way. And it usually comes with ketchup. Can you guess what it is? It is French fries. Well, the good thing about ketchup is that it's just another vegetable, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is classified or counted as a vegetable, but ketchup is basically high fructose corn syrup. There's so much sugar in it. High fructose corn syrup is going to go to the liver, and that's going to create a fatty liver. Okay, it's going to then create insulin resistance. Other than that, perfectly healthy. And they also add additional sugar as corn syrup. So I don't know why they have to add corn syrup on top of high fructose corn syrup. I don't understand that. But they also add modified corn starch, okay? Another thing that can raise your blood sugars. Also, modified corn starch usually is MSG, a flavor enhancer, to make the food taste better than it really is, which, by the way, again, increases insulin. And they use modified cornstarch to enhance mouthfeel, to give a food texture. That's why they're using it. They're not using it as a sweetener. And then, of course, in ketchup, they had the soy oil, which is not only estrogenic, but it's an oil that has hexane. So we have this product, a French fry, that has advanced glycation end products, trans fats, tons of not just regular sugar, but sugar that can really jack up your blood sugars. We have a product that's loaded with glyphosate that we don't even know all the side effects that that's going to create over time. We have a product that's been deep fried in oil that who knows how long that oil's been sitting there. So we have this potato starch that acts as a sponge that just soaks up all this omega-6 fatty acid, which is highly inflammatory. And then, of course, we sprinkle a little salt on it, right? Maybe not sea salt, just regular sodium chloride, which usually has aluminum. And of course, because of the heating process, there's acrylamide. So there's a lot of bad foods out there, but I really think, based on what I just talked about, the French fry with ketchup is at the top of the list. But what's really hilarious, if you do a search on the food that is the most carcinogenic or the food that is the most unhealthy, you know what'll be number one? On Google search, it'll be red meat and processed meat. That's what they're saying is the most unhealthy, which is so far from the actual truth, because there are so many other foods that are incredibly unhealthy for you. Now, of course, no one just has the French fries. They usually have a hamburger with the bun, with additional things. And then you have the liquid candy, a soda with that, which is more high fructose corn syrup. So instead of depressing you more, let's talk about the healthy foods that you should be concentrating on. I put that up right here. Check it out.